Odds are, at one time or another, you've heard the statement, history always repeats itself. At the beginning of the semester, we were asked the question, why study different cultures? The answer is you can learn much about the future by looking at the past. Looking at Germany is a great example. Over the last 8 years, it seems that political extremism has grown more prevalent in the country. And then we can compare that to Nazism. So odds are you've heard the term MAGAism, and you could say that is a following of Donald Trump. There are several key parts of that many argue that the Nazis believed, and one of them was racial superiority. You've probably heard that Hitler said is that the ideal German race was blonde hair, blue eyes. He deported the Jewish people. He wanted to create this ideal German race. And we really don't see this as much. I guess you can argue with the deportation of some illegal immigrants in the U.S., but if you look at Trump's following, the majority is white people. And as you get to the extreme following of that group, you get white supremacy, who we'll talk about a little bit later. Anti-Semitism. So Hitler's big thing is he blamed the Jewish people for his loss for Germany's loss in the First World War. And then we don't see this as much as with the MAGAism, but as like I said, if you look at the extremes, you go to white supremacy in Pittsburgh, I believe it was 5 years ago, there was bombings in Jewish synagogues. And it's an example of that in the United States. Ultranationalism. We see this a lot nowadays in the United States. We want to become a more independent country, we want to close off, or we want to be proud in our country. You saw that with Hitler, is that we're superior than everyone else. We kind of see that with ourselves, is like imposing tariffs and other stuff. Militarism. Is that when Hitler came into power, he put a heavy emphasis on military spending. So that was eventually led to going out and attempting to conquer Europe. And we see that is that not as much, but it's been talked about expanding the military. Is we want to be intimidating, we want to seem stronger than other people. And then I'll talk about it here in a second, but you look at, we heard is that if we have to, we could take the Panama Canal by force. And is you bolster your military if you want to do something like that. Like I said, is that Hitler believed that they were given not their fair share of land back after their defeat in the First World War. So first off, he went and tried to take Poland. He believed Poland was German and should stay German. But then he went way too far and moved into France and other places. So the U.S. is not taking these places by force, but Trump has mentioned the purchase of Greenland. Greenland is, if you look at it, it's rich with natural resources. It's close to Russia is one of our biggest external threats. And then Canada struggled financially the last 5 years. The reason why merged the two economies. And like the Panama Canal, he said that the government of Panama should just hand over the canal since it was American built, American funded. So we go to some more examples. In Germany right now, we see the AfD, and they are for a more like Germany. Germany took in loads of refugees over the last 10 years, and they believe that those people should go back home. They also believe I guess, in all the factors we just talked about. Now let's look at East Germany. So East Germany, they constructed the Berlin Wall to keep their citizens in, and we kind of did something similar to this. We have a big emphasis with the southern border to keep people from coming into the country. That's a similarity. Then we got Russia, is that we can look in, is that, I guess you see Putin is a dictator, kind of like Hitler. They believe that Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union, I believe, so they went into Ukraine thinking they can retake that land that once belonged to them. Then we got China. China is, you could say it's a communist state, and communism is very similar to socialism in some aspects. And one of the biggest similarities there is that all business and all enterprise is owned by the state, owned by the people for the people. That's it, thank you.